Sheriff is now saying that he will ignore any of the White House's new gun control recommendations that his department finds unconstitutional. But this sheriff is not alone. At least 10 states now say that they're considering taking some sort of legislative action against the federal government. Those states span the nation, from Oregon all the way to South Carolina. Many sheriffs are now calling for action, like Lynn County, Oregon Sheriff Tim Muller. Sheriff, welcome. Good to have you here today.
Good morning, Martha.
Talk to me a little bit about your process of thinking this through. You know, when you started to hear about these executive orders coming down from the president, you know, what kind of action did you take? What became your plan, and how do you back up your ability to carry that out?
Well, how it first started was I had a lot of folks in my county asking myself and my deputies, you know, what my position was on if any what they termed far-reaching or overreaching gun control laws were established from the feds. And yeah, I made my position known. I tell my deputies that you know, I didn't support anything, any regulations that would infringe upon the constitutional rights of our citizens.
Well, when I swore oath to a community, a group of people who live in Jackson County. I swore oath to the Constitution, which I swore oath also to the Constitution of Kentucky. And in that Constitution is the Second Amendment, and that's what this country is based upon. How can I rightfully, in my own mind and in my heart, come in and take guns away from people when that is their protection? In an area our small, we're in a rural county, we're in a rural area. Sometimes it takes 30, 40 minutes to respond to the remote part of our county to protect our people. They can call on a cell phone, and I can say I'm en route. I can be talking to them. A guy kicks their front door. I would rather them be armed and be able to take care of themselves than to, in my mind or my heart, take the guns away from them.
So I will not enforce an unconstitutional law against any citizen in Smith County. It just won't happen.
I personally believe that the provision in the Second Amendment is the final fail-safe, if you will. An armed society, if you read the Federalist Papers and study the Constitution, you'll see exactly why that is so important. And I believe that there is a goal to ultimately take as many firearms as possible. The differences between the firearms, more often than not, are cosmetic as to what is an assault weapon, that sort of thing.
Well, I think the senator's bill also includes guns that will remain legal, not just guns that will become illegal to own.
Well, it's just like if you take out part, it's kind of like the Bible. Either you believe it or you don't believe it. The Constitution, either you believe it or you don't. You either live by it or you don't. I think people have tried to compromise it, tried to tweak it, mold it to whatever best suits them financially or for whatever other reason.
I am absolutely 100% pro-Second Amendment. I was troubled by the willingness to use executive orders. I think the appropriate way to do this is through the Congress.
And the sheriff is against the president's proposal to ban automatic assault rifles and limit the capacity of magazines.
I really don't have heartburn with people owning AR-15s. I don't. A 30-round magazine. If you're out target shooting with your AR-15, a 30-round magazine is pretty convenient.
Since his letter was posted yesterday on the Sheriff's Department website, he's gotten 10,000 hits and plenty of phone calls. He says he takes the positive with the negative and says the real problem isn't guns, it's something he sees every day inside the jail he runs.
I firmly believe that the mental health apparatus in this country is broken. Our county jails have become a dumping ground for the mentally ill. This is not the place for the mentally ill.
You know, and I know with the Second Amendment, the way it was designed, you know, was to protect the people from also from the government. And but you know, in protection, it's just like if I'm a bad guy and I'm going to go kick a door, but I know the guy behind that door has a gun, and I go to this other door where I know a guy doesn't have a gun, that's the door I'm going to kick. You're still going to have instances, you're still going to have violence. You're not going to be able to curb that, but the innocent people are going to be able to protect themselves.
Yeah, the Lynn County Sheriff's Office, myself and my deputies, we have the position that we're not going to enforce that law. It's a federal law. You know, if it comes down as a state law, then we'll have to revisit that. But we won't enforce federal regulations or federal laws. We're not required to. There's a separation of powers, and we won't.
Well, I'm doing what I feel I am elected to do. I am elected with a very narrow range of responsibilities that have to do with public safety, law enforcement, and I'm not a robot. I'm supposed to think about what it is I do. And I'd point out to you, you've been talking about the NFL making statements. I remember then Senator Clinton screaming that she was tired of people saying that it was unpatriotic to criticize the president. All I've done is stood up and expressed my view of this very crucial part of the Second Amendment that I see in an instance of taking advantage of people's grief to pass things that in the final analysis are not in the best interest of the country, and the Second Amendment that is such an important part of protecting this republic.
Everybody in law enforcement and the judiciary takes the same oath. I took the oath. It's to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Implicit in that oath is a judgment that each individual makes. Is this order that my superiors have given me? Is this request that my colleagues have asked of me? Is this application that lawyers have made before me consistent with the Constitution? Normally, there is tremendous cooperation between state and local law enforcement on one hand and the feds on the other. And that's for a variety of reasons. They help each other. Sometimes the state has to call in the feds, and the feds have something the states don't, a big fat checkbook. So the feds fund a lot of local law enforcement. Is it a crime for him to refuse to cooperate with the feds? Absolutely not. Does he have the discretion, the lawful ability to refuse to cooperate with the feds? Yes, he does. This is actually a growing movement throughout the country. Local and state law enforcement saying to the feds, those are your laws, you enforce them.
Fair. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, when you look at an executive order, I think most people would assume that that's an executive order, that has to be carried out across all levels of law enforcement in the country. But
so the President of the United States cannot tell a local sheriff, a local police officer, a state attorney general what to do. I commend, I applaud local law enforcement when they say to the feds, don't come here. This is our problem, and we'll deal with it. The Constitution means what it says right here.
Fascinating constitutional debate, and I know that you're somewhat interested
yes.
in those. Judge, thank you so much.
I'm hung up on this Constitution thing.
We love that about
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chief.